Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia and here on this channel we talk about writing, journaling, and scrapbooking to help you curate a life that you love. Okay, so I've made a lot of spiritual content videos here on my channel and a lot of you seem to be very interested in them, and I've got a few comments and messages from people looking to see more about this. So I'm branching out today. We're trying something a little new, at least for me and the channel. So I am going to be talking about journaling topics. I'm going to be using journaling prompts for this particular video, but instead of journaling about them, I'm just going to speak vocally and to offer an auditory type of journaling session. I spoke about this in a recent video that I technically recorded today, to be honest with you, but it probably went up a week or two-ish weeks ago. And in that video, I discussed why journaling may not be working for you and what to do instead. And that particular video, I did mention audio journaling, and I spoke a little bit about how when I read tarot, I typically journal in that sort of way. So today, we're gonna do it together. And I'm a little nervous because I don't know what to expect from this journaling session, which is going to be a vocal journaling session, but I'm not really sure what to think of this because I'm going to be using the tarot. And yeah, I've never done that on this channel, so it's super crazy. So before we get into today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up if you like this new kind of content, and if you do, then I will continue to make stuff like this. If you prefer my old way, I guess leave a comment down below letting me know that. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more journaling content like this, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the goal of this video is actually to use a tarot deck for maybe a week or a couple weeks. I'm not really sure how long I want this to be. It really depends on my schedule, but I want to use a tarot deck throughout a period of time to bond with it better, because I have a few tarot decks, quite a few tarot decks, and some of them I am not totally bonded to. And I would like to create a stronger bond, a stronger connection with them, and so that's kind of the point of this particular video. Now this little video is actually inspired by Katey Flowers' Tarot in Practice series. She works with a tarot deck for like a month and records the process, and while mine isn't going to be exactly like that, it is inspired by that, and I will leave a link to her channel down below because it's amazing and I really like it. So for this particular video and project, I guess, that I'm going to be doing now, I'm actually going to be using the Mystic Faerie Tarot by Laura Ravenscroft, and the text is by Barbara Moore. So this is the deck. My mom gifted it to me at Christmas time. It's definitely an interesting deck. I have shown it before on TikTok, I believe, and maybe not on this channel though, but I've shown it on TikTok before. And I do enjoy the illustrations a lot. It's a beautiful deck, and I love the way that the minor arcana, it tells a story. So it follows like a central character or a few characters throughout the entire story of the minor arcana. So say the Suit of Wands or the Suit of Swords, and it's just beautiful. I love that it progresses with the suit and it makes so much sense, and it's just a really nice deck, to be honest. It is RWS inspired, so if you are new to tarot and you're looking for a really cute deck, this would be a really good place to start, especially if you're learning. But anyway, this deck and I have not really bonded. When I first got the deck, it was giving me a lot of trickster energy. It wasn't really being forthright or honest with its, readings. I would ask it questions and they would either be really confusing and vague, or just the answers would just not make sense together. It would like contradict and be very confusing. And so I haven't been using it, but I do want to try. So, yeah. So before we get started with the reading and all of that, I do want to make a mild disclaimer that these are my opinions and the way that I interpret the cards, and it will be different from other people's interpretations, I'm sure. I will stick as close to the RWS-based system as possible, but I tend to take meanings more intuitively and I will just interpret them as I see fit. And if you disagree, that's totally fine, but let's all be nice to one another, and hopefully we don't have any like crazy disagreements. But you can always leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. Just be kind with me. So yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's get into this. Alright, so I have my deck here, and we're gonna go ahead and get started on a reading. I have 3 questions that I want to ask the deck. So the first is, how do you prefer to communicate? The second question is, how do you see me as a tarot reader? And the third is advice on how I can better understand you. I'm looking at my phone because that's where I created the prompts. I created these on my own, and the goal of this first session is essentially to understand the deck better as we go on through this series, I hope, or through this like tarot and practice inspired activity. I am hoping to do different spreads that address more personal things in my life, but for the beginning, because I have trouble understanding this deck, we're just gonna do it that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle my cards, and then we're gonna draw some and see what happens. How do you see me as a reader? Alright, so the first question I asked my deck was, how do you prefer to communicate? And the first card that came out is the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands typically represents like planning. It's usually when you have like an idea, which would be like the spark, the Ace of Wands. And now you've planted the seed and you are ready to begin propagating that plant, that idea, and working towards expanding it and creating something more tangible. Usually it's the process of planning or creating a method of approaching this passion project, this passion, this desire, this idea, whatever you want to call it. And that's just like the initial stages of it. So when I ask the deck, how do you prefer to communicate? I think that with the Two of Wands, it's saying that it would rather take a more like a backseat approach, and instead of jumping into something, instead of giving you a forthright, forceful answer, it's more of like, okay, take a step back, take a breath, create a solid plan, a solid foundation from which we can expand upon. The deck prefers perhaps to communicate in a way that is more future-oriented, but not in a way that rushes the process, nor in a way that encourages you to come up with new ideas. You should already have an idea of what we're talking about, but you don't necessarily have to have it all figured out yet. The next question was, how does the deck see me as a reader? And we got the Empress reversed. So the first thought that came to my mind was chaotic creative energy. It's messy. I think of the Empress as being this creative energy. I don't necessarily think of her just as a motherly figure, though we could view it that way too, and we will, but I typically think of her as the creator, a way to create things in the world, an artist, if you will. And when it's reversed, either she has a lack of creativity, she's stunted in some way, or she's insanely messy and going all over the place, just creating things that have no sense of direction or real purpose. And that's the part that kind of speaks to me, though the deck could see me as an overbearing mother as well, I suppose. Perhaps I am a bit strict and over-controlling, smothering maybe, I don't know, as a reader. So maybe the deck would prefer me to be a bit more open-minded when it comes to reading and the way we communicate, but we'll figure that out in the third question. Aside from that, the deck could just see me as just this chaotic energy, this chaotic feminine energy, exploding with creativity and color and thought, but not really having a set and structured like methodology of how I'm going to approach things in life. I mean, the Emperor is following the Empress and he typically provides that structure, so maybe there's a lack of that, and that is why my energy is so chaotic, from what the deck's perspective is. The third question was advice on how I can better understand the deck. And I got 2 cards that fell out for this one. So we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords reversed. We'll examine both of these cards one by one. So the Eight of Pentacles typically represents hard work, it represents diligence and the pursuit of new skills and education. It represents to me this idea of putting in the effort to achieve the goals that you want to by studying and really buckling down with that energy. So when I asked the deck, how can I better communicate with you? I'm assuming this deck is calling me out and saying you need to study more, you need to study me as a deck, you need to study tarot, you need to really hone your skills as a reader because maybe I'm not perceiving the deck clearly. And I will slightly agree with this. I mean, tarot is an ongoing study, as is a lot of things that we do in life. So this is one of the ways that I'm intending on better learning the tarot and bettering my skills and abilities as a tarot reader. So while I understand the deck's frustration perhaps that in order to communicate better I'm going to have to step up my game, I am trying, deck. I am trying. The Knight of Swords reversed is not necessarily a good sign. With this in the reading, it kind of gives off the vibe of I have chaotic energy again, and that to better understand the deck I need to be realigned and refocused. Perhaps I'm acting too swiftly. I'm jumping headfirst into something that I'm not prepared for. Maybe I'm being a little too unpredictable or disregarding the tradition and the diligence and the forethought that goes into tarot, especially with this deck. So from my perspective, the deck just thinks I am very young and naive, and as a reader anyway, maybe in general, and that in order to better communicate, I need to really ground myself and refocus my energy because right now I'm a mess. And with that chaotic Empress reverse energy that we saw earlier, I'm really starting to sense that this deck thinks I am all over the place. And is it wrong? No, it's not. Now, one thing I like to do with most of my readings, and I'll probably do it here, is always talk about the shadow card. The shadow card for me is the card that is at the bottom of the deck. So once you finish shuffling, you've finished your reading, I flip over the deck and see which card is on the bottom, and usually that indicates something I'm not paying attention to in regards to the reading. So this reading is about me and this deck and how we can communicate with each other, and I got the Devil reversed on the bottom. This shows me that something that I'm not really paying attention to with this particular topic, something that I'm kind of overlooking or I'm not fully understanding, is the need for freedom and release of things that are holding me back. Perhaps in respect to my shadow self or the parts of myself that I'm embarrassed by. So I'm thinking with this particular deck that in order to communicate with this deck, I need to let go of whatever's holding me back, let go of toxic ideologies, and let go of the shadow aspects that grip me and force me to doubt myself or to overindulge in things that I shouldn't. This is a time where what's required of me is to heal those parts of me and let go of negative energies that are just not serving me. And I think that moving forward to work with this deck, I would probably need to address more of the shadow aspects of myself, perhaps of my chaotic energy, of my lack of planning, perhaps specifically in regards to the chaotic energy that surrounds me creatively speaking. I could kind of see it perhaps in the way that I express myself creatively, that perhaps I'm spending my energy so chaotic and obsessive over my creative endeavors that I'm losing sight of other things. And so maybe there's a need for release in that regards. Either way, this is an interesting topic. This is an interesting way to see how the deck wants to communicate, and I'm interested to see what the other readings are going to be like in this particular little video. So yeah, I think that's all I have for this particular segment, so let's go on to a new day. Okay, hello. So this is the next session of working with the Mystic Faerie Tarot. I am currently sitting in my living room at my coffee table. This is definitely a weird way to sit, but I didn't really want to film in my room, and so here we are. Also, vintage-inspired chocolates. Chalk-Aid. Yes, they're Band-Aid shaped. It's pretty great, but I'm gonna put it to the side because that's not the point of this video. I don't actually know what I want to do a reading for. Okay, I'm trying to put that out of the way. Because I'm just trying to connect with this deck, but I don't really know what I want to do a reading about. There are a few spread ideas in here, so I think I'm going to try one of them, but I don't want a long one. Alright, I think I'm going to do the rose petal spread that's in this little guidebook. So, let's go ahead and clear the cards. Okay, next one is something I need to learn. An issue that I need to address. I don't even know what to make of these things. So, the first prompt is something nice that you need to do for yourself. And I got the 9 of Swords, With the Nine of Swords, I don't really know. I guess there's only one way that I would take this. So with the Nine of Swords reversed, or the Nine of Swords in general even, it typically revolves around themes of depression and anxiety. Usually when you are stressed about something, you're worried about something, you feel like your life is sort of crumbling apart in a way. Now, I personally view reversals as more of internal factors rather than external. So when I view cards that are upright, I tend to think of it as this is something that I experience with other people. This has more of an external sorry, there's a lot of loud traffic near me. I view upright cards as having more of an external connection versus internal. So with the Nine of Swords being reversed, I think of it as an internal problem, usually an internal struggle with anxiety and depression, and I'm specifically looking at more anxiety or becoming a worrywart in particular for this particular card, because something that I think I need to do for myself is to allow myself space to breathe, to let things flow, and not try to control everything around me. I tend to get very caught up in sadness or anxious thoughts or worrying about the future. Usually I stress out about things when I don't need to. So the Nine of Swords reversed to me feels like it's asking me to take a step back and just breathe. With the second card, it says something that you need to learn, and we have the Queen of Wands. And I think of the Queen of Wands as someone who has conquered the passionate. They've conquered their desires. They know what they want and they go after it. They're more active, but not in the way that the Knights are, where it's almost irrational, but more in a compassionate way, a dedicated way. They're usually going after the things that they dream of, their goals. There's fire energy here, so when I think of fire energy, I think of something exciting, something that you really care about, that just really hypes you up. And I think that the advice or the thing I need to learn here is in relation more to reconnecting with my passions and just going for it. Don't think, just do. And I think this is particularly something that I need to reconnect with. I don't know if I need to learn it. I feel like I have kind of learned it before, but I think I need to reconnect with that energy, that like passionate energy that comes with the Queen of Wands. And then I need to step into this role of being someone who's more confident in themselves, who doesn't worry as much, who tends to try to grasp the things that they desire. Because I feel like I've let that part of myself fall back to the wayside. The third prompt was an issue that you need to address. And I have the Queen of Cups. And I don't know how else to, I don't really know how to like look at this either. I have a lot of queens in my readings recently, so I guess I'm really in touch with my divine feminine, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like I could be over in touch. And if this is something that I need to address, maybe it's that I'm letting emotions control me too much. While the Queen of Cups is upright and not reversed, I do wonder if this is more about being a compassionate person who cares for others, that maybe I need more of that motherly energy that comes with the Queen of Cups, that perhaps I need to address my ability to serve others and give to others, or I need to address the fact that I'm giving too much of myself to other people who may be abusing that. I don't really know if this resonates with me or not. If it's something I need to address, maybe it resonates and I'm just not addressing it, so that could be the issue. The fourth prompt is, this is a step you can take to find love. And I don't know if I'm going to use it as to find love as much as I'm going to use this is a step that I need to take in general. So I found the Five of Swords, which is usually about competition between other people, winning at all costs. It's when you are willing to do anything to get ahead. And if this is a step that I need to take, that I need to be more forceful, that I need to do whatever it takes to get to the point that I want to get to reach my goals, maybe what's really lacking here is the fact that I'm being too soft. And maybe that's where the Queen of Cups energy comes in. Maybe I'm not being forward enough. Maybe I'm not being active enough. I'm being way too passive, and this is holding me back. Possibly in my career, but also possibly in just like my passion projects. And so maybe the advice here, the step that I need to take in order to be where I need to be, is to take a more proactive approach and do what I need to do, even if I might offend people or get on someone's nerves. Because in the end, whatever my goal is, if someone's standing in my way, not in like they're standing in my way and I'm like, I'm just gonna shove them aside so I can succeed. I don't view it like that. It's more like someone else is holding me back, maybe unintentionally, maybe intentionally, but either way, I need to recognize my worth and push past that and not let other people bring me down or hold me back. The last one is a goal that you need to work towards, and I have Judgment reversed. literally cannot think of another meaning for Judgment Reversed aside from connecting to my self-doubt and my ability to value what I do and to find my self-worth. I think that's what we're really tackling in this particular spread. Maybe this is a love spread. Maybe it's about loving myself. Goodness. Because when I think of Judgment Reversed, I think of you're at that point where you're supposed to reach some sort of ascension or enlightenment. Judgment to me is about a rebirth. It's about coming into who you are, like fully accepting everything about yourself and fully stepping into your power and trusting your higher self and that energy that you need in order to reach completion. Whether that's completing a simple cycle or whether that's just like reaching a spot in your life where you need to become ascended above your lower self, above your shadow self. And with it reversed, it shows me that what's holding me back is my inability to trust that higher energy that goes with myself. It shows me that I am struggling with self-doubt, maybe some bad self-talk, like some self-loathing or something, and I am unable to move forward because I'm letting my own inner dialogue control me and consume me too much. And seeing the Nine of Swords in this reading with Judgment Reversed just really pulls it in together for me, and I'm starting to understand that the greatest critic, or my worst critic, is myself. And when it comes to my art, when it comes to my journaling, I've mentioned this in a few videos before, but a lot of people struggle to journal because when they do so, they tend to undervalue their own thoughts, or they tend to get into like a self-loathing of some sort, whether it's because their writing is messy, whether it's because the topic doesn't make sense, whether it's because their words don't sound like poetry. And I tend to do this too, and I think I do it in more than just journaling. I do it in almost every aspect of my life. There's a moment here and there where I doubt my abilities, and I think that the deck is asking me not to do that. Easier said than done, but I mean, if the advice of the deck so far is to be more passionate and go after what you want no matter what, I can accept that. I don't exactly know how else to word this, so this is probably something I'm going to journal about. So yeah, I'm thinking for journal prompts or journaling, I'm probably going to write these down and answer them in bullet points, and then I'm probably just going to do a stream of conscious journaling session regarding self-doubt and my need to move on from a situation. And I don't want to go into too much detail about particular places in my life where I feel like this is necessary, but again, that's saved for my journal. But yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, so it is day 3? Is this the third time I'm doing this? I cannot remember. That we are working with the Mystic Faerie Tarot, and I am just sitting at my little nook area. I don't know, it's not really a nook, it's just part of my room, but it's where I do all my scrapbook filming and where I work on my scrapbooks. Spreads. So that's like this table here that you can't see. I think it's out of frame. But yeah, I decided to film in here. It's gloomy, it's rainy today, and I'm actually kind of excited to work with this deck because the spring vibes are just gorgeous. I mean, I freaking love how springy and how summery this deck feels. It's a good seasonal deck for sure. And I'm just ready to, yeah, use it for this reading. So, I thought about filming with this, which is what I use for my scrapbook stuff, but I guess we're just gonna do this, and then I'll just show you the cards because I don't want to move the cameras all over the place. I only have one camera, so anyway, I'm going on a ramble. So for this particular spread, for this practice session, I'm going to ask the deck on how I can balance my energies. So I want a card that answers the question, how can I balance my energy? And then I want a card on how I can work on healing and just feeding my divine masculine side, and then another card on how I can work on my divine feminine side. Because of the spread that happened yesterday, or whatever I did, I think I did it yesterday, I had a lot of, that spread you guys just saw, and it was about self-doubt, and it was about not being forceful enough, not being active enough. So I've been trying to find ways to work on my divine masculine side, because I feel like I'm not feeding that energy very well. It's kind of like having a yin and yang approach. I do want to purchase a book actually about yin and yang. I want to learn more about it and understand those energies, but what I do know at the moment is that you need to have a balance of both, and that in our present society they don't really teach us about feeding both sides of ourselves in that way. So that's something I'm interested in and learning more about, and I want my tarot deck to help guide me. I feel like today I really stepped into my divine feminine, but I do need to work on the masculine stuff a little bit. So we're just gonna go ahead and pull those 3 cards, and yeah. Okay, that's what it is. Me and this deck, I swear. I found yesterday that I didn't resonate with the spread very much at first, and then I went throughout my day and I resonated so heavily with the spread towards like the end of the day. So maybe that's what's gonna happen here. I have no idea. We will see. So for the first question, which was how can I balance my energy, I got the 2 of Pentacles. Okay, that's helpful, I guess. Right. So I decided to read from the guidebook on this one. This little guidebook isn't the best, but I decided to read from it just because I hadn't done that in the other spreads. So we're just going to go ahead and read the 2 of Pentacles. You probably feel like you have too much to do and not enough time to do it in. You are juggling many tasks and have a to-do list that never seems to end. Help yourself out of the chaos by prioritizing your projects and jobs. Make sure you are being as efficient as possible. Don't forget to balance work and pleasure. No life is in balance without both. I mean, that's what the 2 of Pentacles means. It is like about juggling your work-life balance and finding the balance between it. That's definitely how I see the 2 of Pentacles. However, when it comes to balancing my energies, I guess maybe it's like give enough time to work and play, and maybe I've been on and off with that. I don't know. Of course, I see it as like I need to balance out my divine masculine, divine feminine energy, so maybe be forceful, but also think logically and rationally, feed that side of yourself that needs structure, but don't forget to be playful and creative and nurturing. And so, but I already kind of knew that going in, so I can't say that this card was enlightening at all. I think it just kind of became a signifier in its own way. When I said, how can I balance my energies, it said balance your energies, like that was the answer, if you kind of get my drift here. So thank you, deck. But that's fine. Let's move on to the next one. So I asked, how can I better heal and work with my divine masculine? And I got the 8 of Cups. So 8 of Cups. And we're going to go ahead and read the entry for that one too, just because that's the goal for today. You searched your soul and you feel like you're living a lukewarm life. You now know what you want to do. All that is left is to make the necessary arrangements and do it. It probably won't be easy. You'll need to be brave and strong, and you will be. There's not much choice really, because if you don't do this thing, you will always wonder, what if? Now is the time to seek your destiny. Interesting approach, actually, to the 8 of Cups, because, I mean, yes, I guess I could see it. I think that a lot of cards have several subtle meanings, but the 8 of Cups to me typically is about leaving something behind. Leaving behind what's no longer serving you in order to seek something better. Or if the card is reversed, it's about reevaluating and deciding whether you want to leave or go, like whether you want to stay or go. And with the 8 of Cups coming up yesterday as well, but in the reverse position, I do think this is something that, like, there's some transition of some sort, some decision that needs to be made that I'm not really evaluating. What it is, I don't know. When it comes to, if we're applying this to divine masculine energy, it's time to leave behind perhaps a toxic relationship with it, or maybe it's about leaving behind my need to be so in control of things. Maybe it's about leaving behind a lot of my creative energy that I just keep pouring into, but I'm not providing structure as well. Alright, the next one was the King of Pentacles reversed, and that was for how to work on my divine feminine energy. Again, so weird. I feel like these cards should have been flopped, honestly. So before I go into the guidebook this time, because I feel like the guidebook's kind of holding me back a little bit, the King of Pentacles reversed to me feels like somebody who is living in excess, but it's almost becoming like stingy or selfish. Perhaps the person isn't like spreading the wealth. They're just kind of accumulating it and hoarding. So more of like a Four of Pentacles energy, but perhaps on a scarier level. I also think with the King of Pentacles being reversed, it's about where you should have mastered your relationship with the material realm, you are now not mastered with it, and for whatever reason, you have a poor connection with the material world. Either you're too disconnected from it or you're too connected from it in order to move on. When I look at it from that angle, I could see the King of Pentacles reversed as being like you are too attached to the material world to even, you know, help your Divine Feminine. Or if my Divine Feminine is in too much excess, if my Divine Feminine is, you know, in excess and it's outweighing my Divine Masculine energy, then I would assume that I am not in touch enough with the physical world. And I think I kind of agree with that. And I think I'm not very in touch with nature and the natural things that are happening around me. So I would say the advice to get in touch with my Divine Feminine is to become more present, have a more grounded mindset, and really focus on the tangible and the things that I can experience like in this physical world. Either way, still going to read the King of Pentacles. So there are no reversals in this little pamphlet, but that's okay. We'll just read the upright and then assume that we'll worry about that when we get there. Okay. King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles throws the best parties and is the perfect host. He always goes to great lengths to provide the best for his guests. While he will never be the life of the party himself, he will make sure that everyone has a good time. He has worked hard to enjoy the pleasures of life, and nothing makes him happier than to share these things with those he loves. He may neglect his intellectual or emotional well-being. So I would say if it's reversed, then he is perhaps giving too much, becoming too much of a servicer and not enough of a participant, I guess, in life's pleasures and life's enjoyments. I would also say that maybe, again, there's that neglect of intellectual and emotional well-being. I would say intellectual I could feel only because I associate emotions with the feminine aspect and intellect with the masculine. And so maybe I need to feed my intellect more, watch more documentaries. I don't know. Was this an A+ reading? I don't know. But again, the whole point of this video is to bond with this deck, so yeah, and I would like to connect more with the natural imagery in this, like the more of the nature themes, connect with the natural world. So this is something I can do by going on walks or maybe standing in the rain today, honestly, because it's raining so much. Maybe I need to focus on my garden a bit more when the sun is shining, just to reconnect with Mother Nature. So I'm going to try to work on that, but I'm also going to try to feed my intellectual side, I think, today, because I think that's what's needed, at least for now, and then hopefully we can work on some other things once I do this again. So yeah, I'll see you at the next reading. Okay, so we're back to another day, a new day. It has been a couple of days since I've actually done any tarot readings, like, at all, so I kind of wanted to do one right now. This will probably be the last tarot spread in this video, simply because I was going through my editing and these are taking forever. Like, I just have so much, and so yeah, if I do this in the future, I need to work on paring it down because I want to give you guys more spreads, more examples, and I don't even know how many I've done, but I know it's not that many. Anyway, for today's spread, I'm actually using this Llewellyn's Book of Natural Remedies as a guide. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but in the opening of the book, they talk about Ayurvedic practices. I don't know. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. It's written on the book here, and I will put the word up on the screen. Anyway, they talk about the 3 doshas, which are part of Ayurvedic practices, and the 3 doshas are Pitta, Vata, and Kapha. Again, if I'm butchering these pronunciations, I am so sorry. Finding content online about these things, it is so loud here. Finding content online about these things is difficult. Anyway, one of the talks on this was about how most people have a primary dosha, if not 2 primary doshas, and these doshas like kind of rule how you feel physically, your physical well-being, your health. It affects those things in different seasons. And so I'm going to open it up because I took some notes. So it talks about different types of doshas. It says that, and this is a quote from the book, the doshas are 3 different categories based on your personality, mentality, and physical appearance. Your doshas, either kapha, pitta, or vata, should be equal within you. However, most people have a primary dosha. And so my goal for this spread is actually to find a way to even out my doshas, because I know that my pitta energy is like through the roof. I did more research about the pitta and how it would affect you. And since it's ruled by the element of fire, the best season for a pitta is winter and the worst season is summer. And I also looked at diet and a bunch of other things, and it just really resonated. And right now it is summertime and I am struggling with the heat. Like, I'm struggling. And I was wondering if I could use tarot as a way to reflect on my doshas and see how to better balance them, to see if that might better my summer ailments. But we'll see, because I don't know for sure. So it's worth giving it a shot. So let's go ahead and get into the tarot stuff. The spread's gonna be very simple. I'm just going to ask my deck, how can I balance my vata dosha, pitta dosha, and kapha dosha? And then just go from there. So let's go. So I went ahead and did the reading, like I drew the cards off camera, and we're gonna go ahead and dissect them. So before I dissect them, again, I want you to know that I just learned about doshas, so I don't know enough about them, I think, to like put this into like a practice firmly. I'm not knowledgeable enough to do this justice, to be honest with you. But the reason I'm doing it is because I want to learn more, and this is a really good exercise to help me learn, even if I struggle to kind of understand the meanings. So bear with me, it's a learning process, we're all learning together. Okay, so I pulled 3 cards, and of course have my shadow card, but my 3 cards represent pitta, vata, and kapha respectively. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in with the first card, which is when I asked my deck, how can I balance my pitta energy? And I have the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So the Queen of Pentacles reversed is usually a card about like financial independence. When I think of the Queen of Pentacles, she is a very giving lady, but in the reverse, she's perhaps focusing more attention inward and on herself. So she's working towards the financial independence, material stability, stuff like that. What I also think of when I think of the Queen of Pentacles reversed is this idea of nurturing and trying to recognize that you don't have to micromanage your environment and your life in order for things to work out. That other people can help you and you need to let them help you. That you can focus on personal journeys even if it means that you're neglecting other areas of your life, because in the end you're not doing everything alone. And the Queen of Pentacles reversed with this pitta energy makes me think that my pitta energy is out of balance, and I know this, but perhaps a way that I can better bring it into balance is to put more focus on myself and my contributions in my life, and kind of redirect my energy when it comes to independence and nurturing the things around me. This is kind of a tricky exercise, but I think that's kind of what we're getting at here. Pitta energy is very fire and water, and the fact that we have a Pentacles card shows that I need to ground this energy more, that perhaps I'm not grounded enough, and that could be a really big reason on why it's so imbalanced. And perhaps the area in which I need to be more grounded is when it comes to finances, material possessions, myself, and my home. For the vata energy, that's probably my second dosha that I give a lot of attention to, so like mentality. Vata is ruled by space and air, and typically represents like the mind and mentality. And I got the world reversed. So the world reversed usually hints at an unfinished project, a blockage to reach closure. It represents some like roadblock when it comes to moving on to the next path in your journey, to going on to the next cycle. To me, the world reversed also shows that there's something I'm not looking at or paying attention to that could help me move forward. So right now I'm stunted. So it seems like my vata energy is very stunted right now, which is very interesting because I feel like I've been giving a lot of energy to my mentality within this break from work that I have. So I've been off and I'm not working a lot, and so I've been putting more effort into enriching my mind. And I think that maybe it's not necessarily that I need to enrich my mind, it's that I need to find closure in some aspect of my life. And I have a feeling this is more in regards to my creative outlets, because it seems that I can't give focus to everything at once, and so perhaps what I really need to do is give focus to my creative endeavors because that's an area where I'm kind of falling behind. I have the time now, I have, you know, the resources available to me to pursue these creative projects, like my books, for example, but I'm not really giving a lot of time to it. And I think YouTube's a good example as well. Like, now is the time to film the videos and stock up on content, because I'm going to be very, very busy as soon as Q3 starts. So this is something where I think that I need to address what's hindering me from moving forward, and I think it's the fact that I'm not dividing my energy very well. For the Kapha dosha, this is probably my least paid attention to dosha, and this one, Kapha, is ruled by water and earth, and to me it's a very like grounding, like wholesome energy, and at least from like looking it up and like reading about it, but I like hardly ever pay attention to this side of myself, this personality, you know, this side of who I am. And so anyway, I got the 10 of Pentacles for this one, which is all about family and passing on a legacy, delving into your ancestry, being with your, like, your people, being with your, you know, actual family, being with your friends. Like, it's all about that sense of community and spread of wealth and abundance, and I think that's where I need to give my energy. It is summer. I have the free time right now, and I should be spending it with friends and family. I should be, you know, looking into my ancestry more, and being a little bit more concerned about just what family means to me, what home life means to me. And honestly, drawing this card is a very interesting thing to get today, because I have been thinking about my family a lot and I really want to go see them. My parents are at work, but my mom gets off early, and I thought about just hanging out with her and my sister today if I get all of my creative projects taken care of. So this is almost a sign to me to like go do that, in all honesty. And as for the shadow card, something I'm not addressing that could be holding me back, I have the 6 of Pentacles reversed. The 6 of Pentacles reversed is all about like the need to give charity to yourself, to promote more self-care, to focus on yourself and be a little selfish, because perhaps you're giving too much of yourself to others. And while I don't typically give a lot of myself in the form of gifts and finances to others, which again, Pentacles typically rules material worlds, I give a lot of my time and energy and like just my presence, I guess. That sounds horrible when I word it like that, but I do give a lot of my time and energy to others, even if it drains me, even if it leaves me feeling depressed afterwards, because I feel like I would want them to be there for me. So I do think the 6 of Pentacles reversed in this situation, being on the bottom of my deck, is more about safeguarding my energy, protecting my energy, and doing my best to balance out the energy present within me. And that includes, I believe, my divine masculine and divine feminine energies. I think it involves like all of my chakras, which what I know about chakras is very much the westernized version. So I'm definitely not the most knowledgeable on that, but I also think that this is also about like just balancing my energy overall in a lot of different ways, because I think that I'm just very imbalanced right now in a way that I haven't been before, or like in a way that I haven't taken enough notice of. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video because it's a lengthy one. But if you guys like this stuff, please let me know down in the comments below, or give this video a thumbs up so I know that you guys are enjoying content like this. And if you want to see something like this again, please let me know. This was kind of interesting, kind of fun, very insightful, I think. And I definitely have a lot of thoughts going through my head right now, so I feel like I'm going to have to like journal about this because it's just a bit of a chaotic mess in my mind. So I'm having trouble closing out this video because, yeah. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this stuff, and yeah, until next time, I will catch you later.